Hedgehogs in culture. Hedgehogs have appeared widely in popular and folk culture. Europe. As animals native to Europe and Africa, hedgehogs hold a place in European folklore. In most European countries, hedgehogs are believed to be a hard-working, no-nonsense animal. This partially results from the folk belief that hedgehogs collect apples and mushrooms and carry them to their secret storage. It is unclear exactly how old this belief is, though the Roman author Pliny the Elder mentions hedgehogs gathering grapes by this method in his Naturalis Historia. In medieval bestiaries and other illuminated manuscripts dating from at least the 13th century onwards, hedgehogs are shown rolling on and impaling fruit to carry back to their dens. In fact, however, hedgehogs do not gather food to store for later consumption, relying on their deposited fat to survive hibernation. Nor is apple included in their usual diet. It has been suggested, however, that the hedgehogs may use juice of wild apples in order to get rid of parasites, similar to anting. The image remains an irresistible one to modern illustrators. Therefore, hedgehogs are often portrayed carrying apples partially, to make them look cuter. Hedgehogs are often pictured as fond of milk. As late as the 19th century, some English villagers even believed that these creatures would suck milk out of cows' udders. In reality, however, hedgehogs are lactose intolerant. Hedgehogs are also often seen in pictures with an autumn-themed background, since the animal hibernates in piles of leaves. This also adds to the cute reputation of hedgehogs. In Great Britain, however, the human habit of lighting bonfires to celebrate Bonfire Night on 5 November has led to an increased risk to hedgehogs, who often choose to sleep in the piles of wood accumulated in gardens and parks beforehand. Television messages now remind viewers who might be lighting bonfires to check them first for the presence of hibernating hedgehogs. During the 1970s and 1980s, hedgehogs were one of the poster animals for environment activists through Europe. A lot of hedgehogs were killed by traffic, and since the hedgehog already had an aura of a cute little friendly animal, the choice was nearly perfect. In a Vep's legend, the female hedgehog appears in a creation myth. According to it, early on, there was no dry land, the entire world was just a big lake. It was a giant hedgehog who brought soil and sand with its needles, creating dry land. A hedgehog plays a role in a Lithuanian and Latvian creation story as well, when God made heaven and earth. In some version of the legend, the process of shrinking the earth resulted in the creation of mountain ranges. To reward the clever hedgehog, God equipped him with a suite of needles. A similar legend is attested among the Banat Bulgarians and among Romanians as well. The wisdom of the hedgehog is presented in other folk legend in the Balkans as well. In a Bulgarian legend, the sun decided to marry the moon and invited all the animals to the wedding. The hedgehog was the only one who failed to appear. The sun went to look for the hedgehog and found him gnawing on a stone. When the sun inquired what he was doing, the hedgehog explained, "I am learning to eat stones. Once you marry, you will have many son-children born to you, and when they all shine in the sky, everything will burn and there will be nothing to eat." The sun then decided to call off the wedding, and the world's inhabitants were saved from starvation. In the Balkan, Slavic, and Belarusian folklore, the wise hedgehog, along with the tortoise, sometimes appears as the animal capable of finding the raskovnik. In a number of Balkan, Bulgarian, Macedonian, Greek folk songs, the male hedgehog often appears romantically interested. His advances are usually unwelcome, the tortoise is often resorting to legal means to deal with the harasser. United States. Hedgehogs remain largely unseen in modern-day American culture. On a number of occasions, British educational programs have been revoiced to refer to hedgehogs as porcupines, at least one of such examples being Bob the Builder. The Wacky Wheels video game makes humorous use of hedgehogs as projectiles, and they are also seen reading the newspaper while sitting on the toilet in the middle of the race course. One notable exception is Sonic the Hedgehog, the video game character created by Sega. May has been designated Hedgehog Month by the International Hedgehog Association. Oceania. New Zealand's McGillicuddy Serious Party were unsuccessful in their attempt to get a hedgehog elected to Parliament. Also in New Zealand, hedgehogs feature in the Bogger cartoon by Burton Silver, via which they also appeared on a postage stamp. Technology. A hedgehog transformer is an early type of electrical transformer designed to work at audio frequencies AF. They resemble hedgehogs in size, color, and shape, and were used in the first part of the 20th century. See http://www.telephonecollecting.org/hedgehog. HTML. Cuisine. In some supermarkets in the UK, a type of specialty loaf named Hedgehog bread can be found for sale. The loaf has a hard top crust shaped before baking into a series of small spikes, resembling a hedgehog. A hedgehog cake recipe appears in English cookbooks as early as the 18th century. Hedgehogs may also be created by molding ground meat in a teardrop shape, embedding pastry slivers or slivered almonds in the surface to resemble quills, and adding eyes and ears of peppercorns, olives, or whole almonds. The technique dates back to at least 1390 and was referenced in an episode of Two Fat Ladies. Hedgehogs in popular culture. In books. In Good to Great by James C. Collins, he describes a fundamental attribute of successful businesses as their hedgehog concept. Hans My Hedgehog is a German fairy tale collected by the brothers Grimm. A wealthy but childless merchant wishes he had a child, even a hedgehog, and comes home to find that his wife has given birth to a baby boy that is a hedgehog from the waist up. After many trials, Hans My Hedgehog marries a princess and becomes a handsome young man. An even more popular tale in this collection, The Hare and the Hedgehog, is about the race between a hare, who is proud of his swift legs, and a hedgehog. The hedgehog teams up with his wife, who hides on the other side of the field across which the hare and the hedgehog are to race. The hedgehog does not race all the way but simply cowers in his furrow after a few steps. When the hare has crossed the field, Mrs. Hedgehog raises her head on the other side and announces, "I am here already." They repeat the race until finally the hare dies of exhaustion. The story illustrates the dangers of pride on the side of the hare, who cannot overcome the common hedgehog's cunning. The French author the Comtesse de Segur devotes a chapter in the children's classic Les Petits Fils Models in French to a story featuring hedgehogs. A mother hedgehog and her 3 offspring are killed by a caretaker because, as he explains it, they destroy little rabbits and partridges, to the great consternation of the children in the story. In Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, the Queen of Hearts uses hedgehogs and flamingos to play croquet. Beatrix Potter's Mrs. Tiggy Winkle stars a hedgehog. 2 hedgehogs of schoolchild age feature in Kenneth Grahame's The Wind in the Willows. In the 1927 British detective novel, The Ellerby Case by John Rode, in the chapter entitled The Green Hedgehog, Dr. Lancelot Priestley, the investigator who solves the case, is nearly murdered by a hedgehog dyed green whose spines have been impregnated with a virulent poison. British author Terry Pratchett incorporates hedgehogs into several of his Discworld novels, and one of the characters is known for singing a lewd song called "The Hedgehog Can Never Be Buggered at All." Jan Brett has featured Hedgehog as the main character in many of her books, including The Mitten and Hedges Surprise. Hedgehogs are common characters in Brian Jackie's book series, Red Wall. Dick King-Smith has written a story for younger children about a family of hedgehogs threatened by traffic, the Hedgehog. In The Animals of Farthing Wood by British author Colin Dann, several hedgehogs were part of the group of animals that traveled from Farthing Wood to the nature reserve White Deer Park. The oldest 2 hedgehogs were run over on a motorway near the end of the journey. The rest of the hedgehogs safely made it to White Deer Park and appeared sporadically in the remainder of the series. In the television adaptation, only 2 hedgehogs were part of the group. As in the novel, both were killed on the motorway. Isaiah Berlin in The Hedgehog and the Fox takes the hedgehog as the type of the person who knows one big thing, as opposed to the fox, who knows many things. This was taken from a poem by Archilochus. Similarly, Stephen Jay Gould refers to a persistent in sticking to one strategy, hedgehog-like behavior in his discourse on the humanities versus science in The Hedgehog, the Fox, and the Magister's Pox. In Rudyard Kipling's Just So stories, a hedgehog named Stickly Prickly is one of the main protagonists in the story The Beginning of the Armadillos. One of the most popular book-length children poems in Serbian is Branko Kopic's Jezeva Kusica, the hedgehog's little house, Fazipeg, a friend of Little Gray Rabbit. Yona, the hedgehog, is a mythical character in Richard Adams' Watership Down. Shakespeare referenced hedgehogs in The Tempest and Midsummer Night's Dream. He referred to them as hedgepigs and urchins. Curie Levis Sealy Finnish for the Swearing Hedgehog is a comic strip written and drawn by Finnish artist Milla Paloniemi. In other media, Sonic the Hedgehog is Sega's anthropomorphic corporate mascot and one of the stars of the video game series of the same name, 5 TV series, OVA, movie, animated shorts, and 5 comic series, 1 published in the USA and 1 in the UK. Aside from being bipedal and cobalt blue, he resembles a real hedgehog, having large spines, a long nose, and a penchant for curling into a spiky ball. Among his many co-stars are 4 more hedgehogs, Amy Rose, Shadow, Silver, and in the Archie comic series, Scourge. Other hedgehogs in the TV series were Sonia Manic, Queen Alina, and Uncle Chuck. In the Nintendo game Animal Crossing, the Abel sisters are 2 female hedgehogs that own a tailor shop for the player to purchase some clothing. In Animal Crossing New Horizons, a 3rd Abel sister was introduced named Label. The Mysteries of Alfred Hedgehog stars an anthropomorphized hedgehog. Mr. Preclepence is an animated, stuffed toy hedgehog from the 2010 Disney/Pixar film Toy Story 3, who likes to act in stage plays. He is voiced by actor Timothy Dalton. Lynn Sparn Duclaw from the online comic strip Kevin and Kel is a hedgehog. She is highly intelligent and is studying to be a scientist, fascinated with genetics, astronomy, and spaceflight. She has recently graduated from university with her bachelor's degree and married her high school sweetheart Fenton Fuscus, a bat. Jerzy George the Hedgehog in English is a Polish comic book title written by Rafał Skarżycki and drawn by Tomasz Lesniak. Igel Arjun is a popular German board game first published in 1990 by Doris Mathaus and Frank Nestle, the makers of Ursup. The title roughly translates as Hedgehog Irking, but the game is usually called Hedgehogs in a hurry in English. In the game, each player races a team of 4 hedgehogs across a track, avoiding mud pits and occasionally piling atop one another. In a 1970 episode of Monty Python's Flying Circus, there was a fake news profile of a crime lord named Dinsdale Piranha, a notorious criminal known for nailing people's heads to the floor. Piranha believed a giant invisible hedgehog named Spiny Norman was following him everywhere, and when he came to believe Spiny Norman was hiding out in an aeroplane hangar, he blew the hangar up with a nuclear bomb. During the closing credits of the show, Spiny Norman is seen stalking London and shouting Dinsdale. In 1981, an album called Hedgehog Sandwich was released by BBC Records, featuring comedy sketches from the Not the 9 O'Clock News television series. In the Israeli version of Sesame Street, Rikav Sumsum, one of the main characters, was a pink human-sized, orange-spiked hedgehog named Kippy Ben Kippad Kippy Hedgehogson. The same character later appeared in the Israeli/Palestinian co-production of the series, Rikav Sumsum Shara Simsim. In the Spanish version of Sesame Street, one of the main characters was a pink human-sized hedgehog called Espinete Little Spine. In the anime Saint Tail, main character Hanuka Mamie acquires a pet brown hedgehog named Ruby, while in her titular alter ego of the super thief Saint Tail. Ruby helps Saint Tail out on one caper, is the inspiration for one of the latter's magic tricks, and acts as a mascot. Hedgehog in the Fog is a 1975 animation directed by Yuri Norstein. Harry Hedgehog is an enemy in Yoshi's Island. He is an enemy that runs around and extends his quills when Yoshi gets near. Mega Man 3 on the NES had a robotic hedgehog enemy in Needleman's stage, referred to as Needle Harry in Nintendo Power. In Mega Man Roman 2 on the Game Boy, this enemy returns along with Needleman, and in list of enemies at the end is referred to as Hari Hari. Note that in Japanese a hedgehog is a harainzumi, or literally a needle mouse. It attacks by firing its spines and can also roll, during which it is invulnerable. In the Timeless Time episode of the BBC television show One Foot in the Grave, Victor, on his way back into the house in the early morning hours of returning from turning off his faulty car alarm, a series of animated road safety advertisements featuring a family of hedgehogs aired between 1997 and the mid-2000s on various British television channels as part of the Think Road Safety campaign of the British government. The ads, e.g. King of the Road, Stayin' Alive, Glow in the Dark, Green Man, etc., were aimed primarily at a child audience, teaching them about the basics of road safety through songs and the younger hedgehog's humorous misadventures. A promotional website supplemented the television advertisements. It was relaunched in 2003 along with the redesigned version of the ads, but discontinued in 2008. An officially archived version survives. In Keikaio Hitman Reborn, Kiyoya Hibari uses a hedgehog nicknamed Roll as one of his signature weapons, besides his tonfas. In the final episode of the second series of Bottom, Richie mistakenly believes that red Indians eat hedgehogs, and Eddie Hitler mistakes a hedgehog for a womble. The Incredible String Band has a song called The Hedgehogs, sung in their album The 5,000 Spirits or The Layers of the Onion. It was written by Mike Herron. In Littlest Pet Shop, Russell Ferguson, voiced by Samuel Vincent, is a male orange hedgehog and the organizer of the group. Usually he keeps everyone in the Littlest Pet Shop on track, making sure the others won't wreck it in the process. He is often mistaken for a porcupine. In the 2012 film The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, the wizard Radagast has a pet hedgehog named Sebastian. A hedgehog named Russell is one of the major characters in the film Once Upon a Forest. References